You have never met anyone who carries what you carry. And the silence where an explanation should be is not proof that something is wrong with you. Chosen one, there is a moment that has repeated itself through your whole life, and I want to name it out loud. Someone turns to you in a conversation and asks the simple question, "What is your gift?" And your mind goes blank. Not because you are empty, because the answer refuses to take the shape of any word you know. You can name the gift of everyone around you in seconds. Your friend who sings, your cousin who builds things with their hands, the co-worker who can sell anything to anyone. But when you turn that same light on yourself, it passes straight through you, as if there were nothing there for it to land on. And you have carried that blankness for years, like a quiet shame. Hear what I am about to say very carefully, because it is the reason this message found you today. God is rewarding you with a power the world has never seen before. Not a stronger version of a known gift. Not a familiar calling wearing new clothes. Something that has no earlier copy anywhere in history. And the very reason you could never find it is hidden inside the word never. In the next few minutes, 3 things are going to happen to you. You are going to understand exactly why every search for your gift came back empty, and the mechanism behind that will genuinely surprise you. You are going to feel where this power actually sits in your body, because it has a physical address. And you are going to learn the one thing that decides whether this power stays sealed or comes fully online in this very season of your life. Let me hand you the first piece right now, because you have waited long enough for it. The human mind recognizes things in one way only. It compares what it sees to what it has already seen. A face is familiar because it matches a stored face. A song is recognizable because it matches a stored melody. A gift is nameable because it matches a stored gift. Recognition is matching. That is the entire operation, and it runs underneath every thought you have. So ask yourself the obvious question. What happens when a mind built for matching meets something that has no match anywhere in its memory? It does not see it as new. It sees it as nothing. It takes the most valuable thing you own, files it under empty, and quietly moves on. That blankness you have lived with was never emptiness. It was a veil woven out of comparison itself. And later in this message, I am going to give that veil its full name and show you exactly how it comes off. But you have already felt something shift in the last minute, and I want you to mark this moment before we continue. If you have ever gone silent when someone asked about your gift, type the words "never seen before" in the comments right now. Not as a slogan, as the first truly accurate description of yourself you may have ever written down. Because here is what nobody ever told you. A power without precedent is not a power without proof. It leaves fingerprints everywhere it goes. You have been reading those fingerprints your entire life and calling them flaws. And that is the first thing we are going to correct together. Start with the fingerprints, because you already know them by heart. You see connections other people do not see, and when you try to explain them, you watch faces go politely blank. You feel the truth about a person or a situation long before there is any evidence, and you are usually right, and being right that early unsettles people. You lose interest in things you are objectively good at, because good was never the assignment. Rooms feel slightly wrong to you, as if you were built for a room that has not been built yet. You explained all of that the way everyone taught you to explain it. Too sensitive, too scattered. Cannot commit to one thing. A late bloomer at best. You may have spent years trying to sand yourself down into a shape with a name, because a named shape gets approval, and an unnamed one gets concerned, looks at family dinners. That explanation is false, and today it dies. You were never failing to become one of the known shapes. You were succeeding at being something the catalog does not contain, inside a world that only hands out approval by catalog. Here is the mechanism, and I want you to receive its name. The template trap. Every mind carries a library of templates, stored patterns of what a gifted person is supposed to look like. Teacher, builder, singer, leader, healer. When you search for your own gift, you are not actually looking at yourself. You are flipping through those templates, asking which one matches you. A power the world has never seen has no template, so every search ends the very same way. No match found, and the mind reports no match as nothing there. The template trap is not your weakness. It is a built-in limit of recognition itself. It fooled your teachers first, then your family, and then it patiently taught you to agree with all of them. Scripture saw this pattern thousands of years before psychology gave it language. When David stood in front of the giant, Saul dressed him in the armor of a king, because armor was the template for power in battle. David could barely walk in it. He took it off, picked up a sling, and the entire army concluded that the boy had chosen weakness. The template said armor, the anointing said otherwise. The most famous victory in that whole story only happened because one shepherd refused to let an old template overrule a brand new power. And when God speaks through Isaiah and says, "Behold, I am doing a new thing," the Hebrew word used there is kadash. It does not mean improved. It does not mean repaired or upgraded. It means without precedent, a category of divine action reserved for what has no earlier copy. And the verse asks a piercing question right after it. Will you not perceive it? God himself names perception as the battlefield. The new thing always arrives. The only open question is whether the receiver can actually see it when it does. So look back across your life now with clean eyes. All those years you quietly called yourself lost were the years at Chadash. Power was growing inside someone the templates could not read. You were not behind your generation. You were early. And early always looks wrong to people who are still reading yesterday. If something just rearranged itself in your chest, type "no template" in the comments right now, because that is the exact moment you stopped searching the catalog for your own name. Now let me hand you the key that breaks the template trap from the inside, because insight without action fades by morning. Stop asking what your gift is. That question runs the catalog search, and the catalog search returns nothing every single time for the rest of your life. Ask a different question instead. What do I consistently see, feel, or solve that the people around me consistently cannot? Not, what am I? What do I actually do that has no witness yet except results? For the next 7 days, keep a written record. Every time you notice something before others notice it, write one line. Every time your early read on a person or a situation turns out to be right, write one line. Every time a solution arrives in you sideways, from a direction nobody else was facing, write one line. You are not building confidence, you are building evidence. Evidence is how an unprecedented power finally becomes visible to the very mind that carries it. Powers with templates get recognized on sight. Powers without templates get documented first and recognized after. That is the order, and you cannot skip it, and nobody else can do the documenting for you. I want you to see where this road actually leads, because the destination is not a feeling. Picture yourself 1 season from now. Someone brings you a problem that has quietly defeated everyone they know, and you feel that familiar click as the pieces arrange themselves in front of you. Except this time, you do not apologize for how you got there. You have a record with 100 entries that all agree with each other. The blankness is gone. Not because you finally found your template, but because you stopped needing one at all. Now picture the people connected to you living downstream of that change. Your family, steadied by someone who finally trusts their own perception. The strangers whose lives shift because you stopped burying the one thing you were sent here carrying. A power the world has never seen is not decoration, chosen one. It is assigned to problems the world has never solved. That is exactly why it was issued to this generation and not to an earlier one. If this message is reaching something real in you, gently press the like button. Not for me. So this finds another person who has spent their whole life standing in front of catalogs, finding nothing with their name on it. Now, I need to pause and hold something in front of you before we go any further. A few years ago, in research laboratories far from any church, something was discovered about the way the human mind is physically built. A small group of neuroscientists in New York, led by a doctor who has spent decades on this single question, found the reason so many people carry enormous capacity and cannot access it. Their answer traces all the way back to a Nobel Prize, and it explains something spiritually sensitive people have always felt, and never once been able to name. I am going to tell you exactly what they found later in this message, because you need the full shape of the problem before the answer can mean anything. Until then, hold this question in your hands and do not put it down. What if the veil over your power is not only a trap of templates in the mind? What if part of it is physical, measurable, and something that was quietly taken from you when you were still a child? Because now we have to talk about the second veil. You have felt this one too, and it does not live in your thinking. It lives in the machinery underneath your thinking. You know the moments, I mean. A flash of complete understanding arrives, usually late at night or in the shower, and for a few seconds you can see the whole design, what the power is, what it is for, what to do next. And then it dissolves. By the time you find a pen, it is gone, and you are left holding fog where a revelation used to be. You sit down to work on the thing that matters most, and a heavy tiredness arrives that was nowhere in sight 10 minutes earlier. You read a page and retain nothing. You start sentences out loud and lose the ends of them. You blamed age, you blamed screens, you blamed your own discipline, again the way you always do. But notice something strange about this fog. It is selective. 3 hours of mindless scrolling costs you nothing at all. 10 minutes of purpose puts you to sleep. Selective fog is not exhaustion, chosen one. Selective fog is a blockage sitting exactly on the one path your power needs to travel. Earlier I told you about the discovery in New York, and I promised I would come back to it, and I am about to keep that promise. I waited until now on purpose. What they found is not information. It is a solution. And a solution only becomes useful once you have seen the full shape of the problem it solves. You have now seen that shape. 2 veils. One woven from comparison inside the mind. One sitting inside the physical instrument itself. But before I open that door, answer this honestly. Why has everything you already knew not been enough? You have had insight before today. You have had faith and effort and years of real sincerity. Why did the insight stay insight and never become movement? The answer is not a flaw in your character. It sits in a place you have not looked yet, and it is the last thing standing between you and the power we have been naming this whole time. So, let me say the entire thing in plain words, with no imagery at all, so it cannot be misunderstood. Here is the why. You carry a real, unprecedented capacity, and it has stayed sealed for 2 reasons. Your mind could not recognize it, because recognition works by matching. And your instrument could not carry it, because the instrument has been running at a fraction of its design for most of your life. Here is the what. The recognition problem you already began to solve today, with the new question and the written record. The instrument problem is physical, and it has a physical answer, which I am about to describe to you in full. Here is the who. This applies to the person who has done the inner work for years and still feels capped. The person whose gift never matched any template. The person still listening this deep into a message like this one. That is not an accident of attention. That is the exact profile of the person this next part was prepared for. If you are ready to receive the answer with an open hand, type, "I receive the new thing," in the comments. Because reception is a posture, and posture decides what actually lands. You now know what has been blocking you, on both levels. The clarity you are feeling right now is real, but clarity alone has never moved a single mountain. What remains is the instrument. There is a study that won the Nobel Prize in 1981. It did not come from a seminary or a pulpit. It came from the laboratory of Dr. Roger Sperry, who proved that the human brain is two hemispheres designed to operate as one synchronized whole. In that state, which researchers now call whole brain activation, the mind produces insight, creativity, and perception at a level that looks almost supernatural from the outside. And here is the finding that should stop you cold. Roughly 98% of young children test at a creative genius level. Fewer than one adult in 1,000 keeps it. Modern schooling, modern noise, modern living, all of it slowly pulls the hemispheres out of sync until the instrument meant to carry your power runs on a fraction of itself. That is not spiritual failure. That is physiology. A woman from California described what the sealed version felt like. She had tried everything her community offered: prayer, journaling, quiet mornings, and kept arriving at the same wall. She believed every word she prayed and could not feel the reality behind any of it. 10 days after she found what I am about to describe, a channel that had been blocked her whole adult life simply opened. Not because she tried harder, because the receiver had been repaired. A man from Texas said it differently. Years of carrying a family on a foggy mind, prayer that felt like speaking into a wall. 2 weeks in, he woke up and realized the fog he had stopped even noticing was gone. That is because of what the team I am about to describe spent years building. A group of neuroscientists, led by Dr. Daniel Barone in New York, took over an hour of clinical neural sync technology, the kind used in specialized medical settings, and refined it into an 8-minute targeted auditory sequence. 8 minutes a day, headphones on, eyes closed. That is the entire requirement. They call it the Genius Switch. It is not a meditation app, and it is not background sound designed to change your mood. It is engineered directly from the Sperry research to reconnect the two hemispheres and restore the whole brain activation that was your default state as a child. And it is not for everyone. The Genius Switch is for the chosen one, who understands that God prepared not only an unprecedented power, but also the mind required to carry it, and who is finally willing to treat the fog as something with a physical address instead of a character flaw. Colleagues told Dr. Barone it would be fair value at $500 when 1 hour of in-person neurofeedback costs $300 and a home unit costs $7,000. It was released at $49 instead. And today, on the official page, it is $39. It also comes with 4 free bonuses: a guided visualization from a top-rated creator, a grocery guide that removes the everyday foods known to feed brain fog, a 100-year-old classic on attracting provision, and a printable guide to the 5 habits of an ideal future. All of it covered by a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Listen once or 80 times. If it does not do for you what it has done for more than 18,000 people, every dollar comes back. No condition. What God has arranged for you is already in motion, and it becomes visible to a synchronized mind in a way it never does to a partial one. The only question left is whether you arrive at the meeting point with the receiver online. One warning before I close this door. Similar sounding tracks exist elsewhere, and most carry the name with none of the mechanism inside. The only verified source is the official page, which is where the link in the description below and in the pinned comment will take you. If your spirit resonates, go and read every detail for yourself before deciding anything. And do not leave yet. Before this message ends, I am going to speak something directly over your life. And it is the one piece everything else has been building toward. Now let the tool return to its proper size, because it deserves exactly that much space and no more. A tool does not replace God. It does not surrender for you. It does not obey for you. And it does not love for you. What God is doing in you was never conditional on anything a page can deliver. but a repaired receiver gives what God is doing more room to land in, and that is all it is. The deeper current of this message is where we return now. And for the chosen one who felt something stir when the mind was mentioned, that door stays open in the description below. It is a small step, but small steps taken with a clear mind have changed entire seasons before. Here is what I promise to speak over your life, and I want you inside it, not just hearing it. If you can, close your eyes for a moment. If you are driving, simply listen and let the images do the work. See a room deep inside you, a room that has been locked your whole life, not empty, sealed. Inside it there is a light that has never once been outside those walls, a color no one has ever named because no one has ever seen it. This is what you have been carrying all the years you called yourself blank. Now see the door. There is no lock on your side. There never was. The handle turns from within, and the hand on the handle is yours. Feel what happens in your body as that door opens. A warmth starting in the center of your chest and moving down into your hands, the physical signature of a power meeting its carrier for the first time. Whenever doubt returns this week, place one hand flat on your chest and remember this exact warmth. That touch is your anchor now. The room stays open. Take one slow breath in and hold it at the top. As you release it, let the old names leave with it. Too much, too strange, too late, not enough. Let every borrowed template you ever forced yourself into dissolve on that one long exhale, and notice how much lighter you stand when you only carry what is actually yours. Father, thank you for the sheer nerve of what you made when you made this listener. You did not repeat yourself. You reached into what has never existed, pulled out a power fitted to problems no earlier generation could touch, and trusted it to the person hearing these words. We do not fully understand it yet. We receive it anyway. Now stand inside these words, because they are yours. I am not a copy. I am not a template with a fault in it. I am the first of my kind, made on purpose, for this exact hour of the world. What God placed in me has no precedent, and I am done apologizing for having no name in the old catalogs. I carry the new thing, and from today, I carry it in the open. If that declaration is yours, seal it where it can be witnessed. Type, I carry the new thing in the comments, because a power the world has never seen deserves at least one public witness, and the first witness is you. And think of one person you know who has spent their life in front of the catalogs, finding nothing with their name on it. The brilliant friend who calls themselves scattered, the relative who feels everything first and trusts it last. Send them this message, not as content, but as the sentence they have waited decades to hear. You are not blank, you are unprecedented. Amen. And remember the question that used to make you go silent. Someone will ask it again one day. What is your gift? And for the first time, you are going to smile. Because now you know, the answer was never nothing. It was never seen before.